If anyone sees us, I could lose everything. Then don't look around. Just stay here for a second.
I never planned to fall for anyone on that flight, but somewhere between the silence, the turbulence, and his smile, I forgot where the sky ended and love began. I wasn't looking for anything that night. Just another flight, another seat by the window, another silence to get through. But then he smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't ask, just stays. He offered me coffee when I didn't even ask for one. And somehow, between the hum of the engines and the soft cabin light, my heartbeat found a rhythm that wasn't mine anymore.
I like you. And I want to kiss you.
It was supposed to be just another red-eye, a few hours of recycled air and silence between two cities I barely cared about. But the night had that strange stillness, the kind that makes the world feel paused. The cabin lights were dim, everything washed in soft blue. I leaned against the window, half asleep, half numb, until he appeared, Alex, the flight attendant who moved through the aisle like calm itself, confident, kind, the kind of man who seemed to hold peace in his voice. When he smiled, it wasn't a trained airline smile. It was something warmer, real. I told myself not to stare, not to invent stories about a stranger. But some people don't walk into your night, they shift it. It started with a clumsy moment, a bottle slipping from my tray. Before I could move, he bent down, picked it up, and our hands met. That one touch, brief, but alive. The hum of the engines faded, and for the first time that night, I felt awake. "Here you go," he said softly, and that simple sentence, that voice stayed with me long after he'd walked away. Later, when most of the cabin slept, he passed by again. "Can't sleep," he whispered. "Not really," I said. "Too much sky in my head." He smiled. "Yeah, it does that to people." We talked about cities, about how flying makes you feel both close and far from everything. He leaned on the seat ahead, the space between us shrinking with every word. The turbulence came suddenly, a shudder, a dip, and instinctively, my hand reached for the armrest. His hand found mine, steady, warm, certain, and for a moment, I wasn't afraid of falling, in any sense of the word. Hours later, the horizon began to blush with dawn. The spell of the night started to fade. He walked the aisle one last time, calm but distant now, a man returning to duty. Our eyes met, that silent question hanging between us. Is this all we get? Then, as he passed, he left a cup of water on my tray. Beneath it, a napkin, a number, a single line in neat handwriting, "In case you ever want to fly again." I looked up, he turned once more, that same quiet smile, part promise, part goodbye. The engines roared for landing, but I was still somewhere above the clouds. The wheels touched down, a hard reminder that magic has rules. Passengers stirred, the lights came up, and reality filled the cabin again. At the exit, he stood polite, composed, flawless. "Have a safe trip," he said, and for a heartbeat, it was just us again. I nodded. "You too." Our hands brushed, the smallest rebellion. And then, I was gone, swallowed by the noise of the airport. For a moment, it all felt like a dream I wasn't ready to wake from. Stay until the end. Maybe you'll remember what it feels like when love finds you where you least expect it. I told myself I wouldn't call, that maybe it was just one of those moments meant to stay up there in the sky, in memory. But that napkin, it felt alive in my pocket, like it was breathing. 3 days later, I gave in. He answered on the first ring. That same calm voice, only warmer now. "I was hoping you'd call," he said. We met for coffee in a small cafe near the airport. No uniforms, no schedules. Just two people who had shared the same silence above the clouds. He looked different in daylight, softer, but no less magnetic. And when he reached across the table to fix the cuff of my sleeve, it was the same touch that had steadied me in the air. What began as one meeting turned into another, then another. Evenings stretched into nights. We talked about everything, the lives we'd built, the things we'd run from, the quiet fears we never said out loud. He told me he used to watch the sunrise from the galley window on long flights, that every morning sky felt like a reminder that love always rises again. I told him that after that night, I couldn't see clouds the same way anymore. They used to mean distance. Now they meant him. Months later, I watched him walk out of the terminal, no longer in uniform, no longer pretending he belonged to the sky more than to someone waiting for him. He moved in with me that spring, and sometimes, when we hear planes overhead, he smiles and says, "That's where it started." And I always answer, "No. It started when you looked back. If anyone sees us, I could lose everything. But maybe some things are worth losing." Love doesn't always crash into your life with fireworks. Sometimes it drifts down softly on a napkin, in a smile, in a whispered stay. And if you're lucky enough to find someone who steadies you when the world shakes, don't let the moment pass. Let it land. If this story resonated with you, subscribe for more just like it. And I would love to know, have you ever found a connection in a totally unexpected place? Share your story in the comments below. Thank you for staying with me until the end. I will see you on the next flight.